What's going on, y'all? It is officially time for my 2026 NFL Draft quarterback rankings. The draft is about, 17 days away at this point, so it's about time we go ahead and get started on all my player rankings heading into the draft so we can eventually look back and see how I did. But yeah, today we are going to be talking about the quarterback. Spoiler, not a very good class in my opinion, and we will go ahead and jump into things. Let me go ahead and fix the side camera for y'all. But yeah, I mean, and I'm gonna start with this tier 9 through 19 for me because honestly, I don't even know if these guys are gonna make a roster. I mean, they very well could, but I certainly wouldn't guarantee it by any level. I mean, I'm not really excited about any. Obviously, the top couple, like, yeah, if you want to draft them in the sixth or the seventh round, I'm fine with that. But Miller Moss out of Louisville. I don't even know if he'll get signed as a UDFA. Kyron Drones, Virginia Tech, probably wouldn't pick him up. I would say Barim Morton out of Texas Tech might be the first guy I would consider picking up out of all these guys. I mean, he had the big time throws this past season at 6.3, but the turnover rate was super high. But he does have a decent amount of games started, not really a lot of mobility in his game. He's already 24, so it's like, eh. Uh, Mark, the Iowa quarterback, Gronowski, I believe is how you say it. Rushing threat, he's got that going in his favor. 10 to 7 touchdown interception ratio, not great. He is pretty safe with the ball, but he also has an extraordinary amount of time to throw the ball, typically at around 3.08. The pressure rate is insane at 38% is self-inflicted, so I'm not really happy about that either. Diego Pavia, obviously a very popular name. I'll go ahead and show you very quickly why I would never even consider drafting Diego Pavia. He's 5'10", and he's barely 5'10". So it's like you just don't see quarterbacks really that short succeed in the NFL level. I would say he's like a worse version of Dylan Gabriel. And Dylan Gabriel was one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league last year for a couple of games. So, I mean, the rushing upside's nice. He's particularly safe with the ball. He made a ton of big time throws. He was a very good college quarterback, and he will always be remembered for that when you talk about him. At Vanderbilt, don't see NFL player in any stretch. Would not take him in the seventh round. Wouldn't do it in the sixth. Would not draft Diego Pavia. If you want to bring him in and let him compete as a UDFA and maybe play one or two preseason games, cool. Highly doubt he's going to make an NFL roster. Haynes King out of Georgia Tech. I would say that's where things start to ramp up for me. I'm like, okay, I might consider taking these guys in the seventh round. Extraordinary good rushing ability, over 1,000 rushing yards, very safe with the ball, very accurate with the ball, around 79%, which he doesn't really push the ball down the field a ton, but he's also not putting the ball in risk. He has a relatively high big time throw rate, so I like that as well. The pressure rate's a little high. We could get better with that. But I mean, it's not bad. Like the build's not terrible. He's a awesome athlete. Ran a 4.46. He could be a guy that switches position potentially at the NFL level. I mean, 6'2", 210 is solid size. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination. He's just an elite athlete, and I do appreciate that a ton because, like I said, this gets to the range where 9 through 14, you want to take these guys rounds 5 through 7. I would say Fagano and King, I would be probably saying like fringe seventh round picks, preferred UDFA pickups. But yeah, I'm fine with that. Joe Fagano, man, some of these quarterbacks' last names, holy. Out of UConn, I like a lot. 6'3", 225, good build. He's not the worst athlete we've ever seen, but I mean, it's really the numbers. And you see it on the tape when you watch him too. He is extremely safe with the ball. 28 to 1 touchdown interception ratio is insane. He's very accurate with the ball, around 78% almost. Doesn't turn the ball over, really put it in jeopardy at 1.7. The imposed pressure rate is elite at under 10%. So I love that. Also, he's not making a ton of big time throws. That would be my one mark on him, why he's down here at 13. But yeah, I mean, he's not a great athlete. He's definitely a pocket passer, but he's pretty good at it. And I mean, he's got decent size. So, like I said, this gets to really be the range where I'm like, okay, if we want to take a shot on him and let him compete for the quarterback two role, I'm cool with it. I think there is a step up talking about Sawyer Robertson. up to Luke Altmaier at 9. Sawyer Robertson, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of. I can see why people like him. He's 6'4", he's 220 pounds, he's a good athlete. He really didn't run a lot as much as you think he might because of the athleticism. He's extremely inaccurate, and he puts the ball in harm's way a lot. I mean, a lot. Over 3.5% at 3.6 with the turnover worthy throws. He is capable of making big time throws. He's not very accurate, but like I said, the mold of the quarterback's there. The athleticism's there, even though he doesn't really use it a ton. There's a lot to build with Sawyer Robertson out of Baylor. I don't have a lot of faith he's going to build on it. At the Senior Bowl, he was by far the worst quarterback there for that weekend. It was ugly. I don't know. Some people I know have him as high as like a top 8 quarterback, even top 10. I'm not there with him at all, not even in the slightest way. So Sawyer's going to chill down here at number 12 for me. And like I said, really all these guys, 7th round slash UDFA grades for me personally. Jalen Daniels out of Kansas, another awesome athlete. Jalen Daniels can really move. He is kind of undersized, 6'1", 220. The weight solid, the height, probably not preferred. Another guy that could change positions at the NFL level. He had a relatively good year for Kansas. I mean, 500 rushing yards is really the intriguing thing. Like I said, the level of athlete he is also puts the ball in harm's way a good bit, puts a lot of self imposed pressures on himself. But he did surprisingly make a good bit of big time throws. He's not the most inaccurate quarterback I've ever seen. So there definitely is a lot to work with. Then Luke Altmaier out of Illinois and Ethan Kalakamanis. Hopefully I said that right. I highly doubt I did. To me, two peas in a pod. Similar height and weight, 6'2", 210, 6'3", 212. I think they're similar athletes. I would give Altmaier the nod of being a better athlete. So that kind of was why I gave him the nod up. Altmaier is also a way more accurate quarterback in terms of the adjusted completion percentage, over 5% more. But man, Ethan made a ton of big time throws. That's one of the higher numbers in the entire class at 6.6. He also kept the ball out of harm's way. Both of them have a good bit of starting experience, which y'all can't really see back here at 42 and 39. And pressure rate's not terrible for either one. So, like I said, this gets more comfortable for me. Like day 3 pick, 5th to 7th round. Okay, take a flyer on these guys. I don't mind it. Now we'll go one by one, talking about the top 8 and beyond. And starting off with number 8, it is going to be, and I think you might have saw number 7, but oh well, we'll talk about him in a minute. It's going to be Carson Beck out of Miami. Carson Beck, to me, is one of the probably safest quarterbacks in this whole entire draft once you get past like the top 3 for me. In terms, like, he could end up being in the NFL 5 to 10 years longer than really, I would say, 4 through 7. He just has nowhere near the ceiling, in my opinion. Carson Beck is the most backup quarterback of quarterback to ever live on planet Earth. I mean, the build's awesome, 6'5", 233 pounds. Nice. The athleticism's okay. He's not going to ever beat you with his legs, but he is capable of scrambling for a couple yards when need be. He's going to be accurate with the football, around 79%. He doesn't put the ball in harm's way. The pressure rate's good. Like I said, the only reason he's here at 8 is what is Carson Beck's ceiling? I do not see a starting quarterback when I actually watch Carson Beck with my own eyes, and I feel like a lot of us have felt that way, especially when he played at Georgia. Then he went to Miami, and it's like, yeah, he got slightly better, but I would still say they didn't win the national championship, largely due to Carson Beck. The defense played amazing in the first half. The offense couldn't move the ball. So it's like he just isn't a ceiling elevator. Can Carson Beck step in for you if your quarterback, say Carson Beck steps in, he's your starting quarterback, because your real starter got hurt and he's got to play 5 games. I feel fairly confident he could get you 2 wins. He could go 2 and 3, maybe even 3 and 2 if your team's good enough. He's just not going to do the heavy load carrying, which is fine. You need backup quarterbacks. So if you're a team like the Rams potentially and you're trying to win a Super Bowl and you're like, hey, we need some insurance behind us if Stafford gets hurt, or if you're the Bills and Josh Allen, or you're the Chiefs and you don't trust Justin Fields and you want to bring in competition, Carson Beck can be your guy. I think he can, like I said multiple times, be a very solid backup. I don't know what the ceiling is. Okay, I lied. I'm going to talk about numbers 5 through 7 together because they are their own tier of quarterback to me. And that's going to be Taylor Green from Arkansas, Drew Aller from Penn State, and Cole Payton from North Dakota State. And as you can see, I'm highest on Cole Payton. We'll start from the bottom up. Taylon Green is one of the best athletes in the entire class. He's 6'6", 230 pounds. The arms are long as hell. The athleticism is elite. He ran a 4.36, which I believe is the best time ever for a quarterback running. Almost 1,000 rushing yards this past season. Okay, what's the problem? If this guy is that elite of an athlete, why is he your quarterback 7 in a week class? I'll tell you why. He's not a good quarterback. I'm sorry, he just isn't. He's not an accurate thrower. He takes forever to process the field. He can't get to his second read. He puts the ball in jeopardy a ton. He's just not a good quarterback. I mean, the turnover rate was over 5%, which I believe is the highest in the class out of any really draft eligible quarterback. The pressure rate was pretty bad at 22%. He does have a lot of starts, which normally is a good thing, but when you start 44 games and you're still this bad 44 games in as a quarterback, to me that kind of says to me, okay, dude, you might just be Logan Thomas from the Commanders. If you remember Logan Thomas coming into the league, quarterback, moved to tight end, had a pretty successful career for a guy that changed positions. That just might have to be you. You might have to put 10 more pounds on and play tight end and just be one of the most athletic tight ends in the league, maybe like a Kyle Pitts. You're just not good at quarterback. And maybe you can get a QB guru and a wizard like Matt LaFleur or Sean McVay to develop this guy. If you don't, I don't think he's going to be in the NFL longer than 5 years. And that's just my take. Taylon Green could potentially be one of the highest ceiling, most pulverizing prospects in the draft. The bottom line is he just is not a good quarterback currently, and that's why he's number 7. But the reason I give him the nod over Beck is because I can acknowledge the incredibly high ceiling. So if I'm spending a 4th round pick, do I want to get a safe backup or do I want to swing for the moon? I probably want to swing for the moon personally. Like I said, in certain situations, maybe not. But me personally, I like taking home run swings. Drew Aller at number 6. It might be a surprise to see Peyton over Drew Aller to some. I'll explain it. Drew Aller, I mean, prototypical size, A plus chef's kiss. Like 6'5, 230. The measurables are great. Once was thought to have a first round pedigree. Hell, I think if he declared last year, he would have went before Jackson Dart in the first round of the draft. Comes back to Penn State, plays mediocre to bad in his time, goes down with the season-ending foot injury, was it? I can't remember off the top of my head. Couldn't have had a worse season. I mean, things really did not go his way. He was mediocre on the field. Then he goes down for the season. So it's like, that's tough, man. And now you're coming off injury. Your mechanics are terrible, and that's the main reason I give Peyton the nod is because Drew Aller has some of the worst mechanics I've ever seen a quarterback have. His footwork's terrible. He's inaccurate with the ball. It's a lot of scary stuff. I mean, it's such a small sample size, but he wasn't accurate while he was playing. He wasn't making any big time throws. He was kind of just relying on wherever the running backs took them. That's where they went. The turnover rate, I will give him that. He wasn't putting the ball in jeopardy. Pressure rate was pretty solid while he was playing. Drew Aller can be a fun prospect. If Drew Aller goes in the 3rd round, I'll say, okay, I understand. He needs to go to another team like Taylor Green and Cole Payton that can develop quarterbacks because, like I said, the mechanics to me, D minus F. They are terrible. Bad, bad, bad stuff. Nasty. The footwork's terrible. He's inaccurate with the ball and largely due to his mechanics. So if he could have like a Josh Allen turnaround in terms of his mechanics, Drew Aller might become a top 15 starting quarterback in the league. Like, truly, I think that's how much relies on the mechanics. Will he fix it? To be determined. That's why he's number 6. Cole Payton, I really don't have the same worries with, and he is another fun one. 6'3", 230 pounds. He is a very good athlete, destroyed the combine, like several of these quarterbacks, really. Maybe the threshold's going to start going up. But yeah, like I said, he's very mobile, ran for almost 900 yards this past season. The touchdown to interception ratio is kind of bizarre to me. 16-4. It's 4-1, which is great. He just didn't really throw that many, which I don't. By the looks of his numbers, it looks like he might have missed a couple games, which is probably the case. Which honestly, shame on me for not knowing that. To be real with you, 78% completion rate is elite. 12 like a 12% big time throw is insane. Like the next highest is 6.7 with Diego Pavia so far. So really put that in perspective how many big time throws he's making down the field. Big time throws, if you don't know, it's like throws you're making 20 plus yards and how accurate you're doing it. well, not fully how accurate, but like just the rate you are doing it at. The 1.6% turnover worthy play, chef's kiss, up there with Haynes King for the best in the class. The pressure rate's the one issue. He puts a lot of self imposed pressures on himself. And the biggest issue with Cole Payton by far, the lack of starting time. 13 is a terrible number. Typically, I can't remember the number off the top of my head. I feel like it is around like around 30 is where you want your quarterbacks. Over 30 collegiate starts based on the history of successful quarterbacks, typically good. Cole Payton's at 13. So it's a guy with a ton of inexperience, but there is a lot of upside to the pick. He's pretty accurate with the ball. He's got good touch down the field. He's very mobile as well. He's just severely like underexperienced, and that's really the one big flaw. To me, I don't have a top 100 grade on Payton. I don't He's like a fringe top 150 player. He probably will be a top 150 player for me when it's all said and done, which is pretty soon. I don't know. Like it needs a lot of development. Like he just needs a lot more playing time. Needs to play multiple preseasons before I feel good. In the age, off the top of my head, I want to say he's like 24, 25. I couldn't find it officially, so I didn't put it. But I'm pretty sure that's how old he is. But like I said, he's a very fun prospect, and I'd rather take Cole Payton than Drew Allard, Taylor Green in terms of an upside pick at quarterback. All right, we're gonna move on to number 4 and 3 in the class because to me, kind of similar, but one is just significantly better than the other, and that's going to be Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU at 3 and Cade Klubnik out of Clemson at 4. Similar quarterbacks. Both had first round pedigree similar to Drew Aller entering the year. Both of them, everything went wrong. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier played through a ton of injuries, was banged up a lot. Honestly, wasn't great when he was on the field. I think largely due to playing through injuries. Went sloppy, ends up getting benched mainly because he was hurt. Okay, Cade Klubnik just really wasn't that great. Played pretty much the entire year for Clemson, but like everything at Clemson for some reason this past season, nothing went right for Clemson. Peter Woods, Cade Klubnik, TJ Parker, literally no one really outperformed expectations. It is what it is. I think they both, to me, probably should be third round picks, especially Nussmeier. Nussmeier, I have about off the top of my head, I guess like 60 spots higher. So I'm a lot higher on Garrett Nussmeier. So let's talk about Cade Klubnik, I guess, first. The mobility with Klubnik is better. He's also 2 years younger. They're pretty much the same build. They both need to add some weight to their frame. But yeah, I mean, Klubnik, there still was stuff to like, but it's really reliant on the 2024 film that you saw with Klubnik and why you would potentially take him on day 2 of the draft in like the third round. He's accurate with the football. He doesn't put it in harm's way. The pressure rate's not terrible, and he has a ton of starts under his belt. He's just an undersized quarterback. And when I say undersized, he's really undersized. Like 6'2, 207 is not great, but there is a good bit to like in Klubnik's game. And I mean, he was making a decent amount of big time throws this past season as well. It just wasn't what you were hoping for going into the year. Going on to Garrett Nussmeier, like I said, got benched, in my opinion, largely due to injury. Garrett Nussmeier to me, some people won't like this. It gives me kind of Tua vibes. Like when they're healthy, they can be extremely productive quarterbacks. But the real problem is when are they healthy? Like Nussmeier battled a lot of injuries, like I said, a lot of rib injuries, which obviously, if you've ever thrown a ball, your ribs are largely involved in that motion. He's very accurate with the ball. He has phenomenal touch. The arm strength could be a question mark, but he doesn't put a lot of pressures on himself. He gets the ball out quick and effective. He's smart. He can read a field greatly. Kind of another guy similar to Cole Payton, but not nearly as bad in terms of very limited starts at 23. But yeah, I mean, Nussmeier to me, it kind of feels like a Tua, and with how Tua's career has went, how many people want to take a quarterback like that in the top 50? Not a lot, but then again, like entering the year, Nussmeier was projected to potentially be the number 1 overall pick. So that should speak volume onto how great of a passer Nussmeier really is when he's healthy and rolling. All right, number 2, I think it's I mean, we'll just go ahead and look at the rest. We got Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson to end it off. We'll talk about Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson, 8 weeks into the collegiate football season, you could have argued was the number 1 overall pick. He was playing out of his mind. Second half, started to deal with multiple injuries, got banged up, and I guess another problem with Ty Simpson is he is a little small, 6'1", 210. But like I said, the large part was the injuries. I mean, he got banged up a good bit down the stretch. His playmakers weren't making plays. He really wasn't doing much either. He was overthrowing people left and right, inaccurate with the ball, started to get sloppy. But that speaks volumes on the stat on the end that y'all can't see because of my face. The inexperience. He's only started 15 games in college. Ty Simpson isn't someone I'm drafting in the first or second round and saying, okay, Ty, you're starting. To me, the best spots are, ironically enough, the Jets and the Cardinals. Preferably the Cardinals, offensive minded head coach, got good weapons on the team. But, like, he can sit behind Jacoby Brissett maybe for a year, or he can sit behind Geno Smith until Geno Smith and Jacoby Brissett say, "Okay, these guys suck. We gotta get them off the field and see what Ty Simpson has in him before we're picking 1st or 2nd overall." And now we're in position to take Arch Manning, Julian Sang, Dante Moore, Lenore Sellers, whoever it ends up being. And you're like, "Okay, well, these guys are better than Ty. We'll take one of them and try to trade Ty for 3rd round picks." So, yeah, Ty to me should hopefully sit. Hopefully, he ends up preferably, I'd like to see Ty Simpson on the Rams. I don't know if that ends up being a trade back or a trade up from 61 to, like, I don't know, 31 if they're willing to do that. That's going to cost maybe a future first next year. I don't know, but he needs to develop his game. And it really showed in watching him throughout the season of, okay, everything's going great. Okay, some things are off track. And okay, now it's getting very ugly to the point where should you be on the field? But man, like I can't get over like what I saw in the first really 8 or 9 games from Ty Simpson. There's a lot to like. He's just so raw as a prospect. I have a top 50 grade on Ty Simpson. There really is a like to lot as a like a lot to like as a prospect. Can you ever get it to be consistent? I don't know. It's a guy I preferably would take in the second round. Like, you want to take a flyer on Ty Simpson if you're the Jets or Cardinals at 33, 34, have at it. Like, I really can't blame you because of the upside. The overall arm strength isn't elite. Like I said, the inexperience could be a problem. I don't know. There's no way I don't know how people have a first round grade on him. Like I said, you saw his flaws really come to light. I don't know. But let's talk about number one in the clear cut number one, Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. I mean, this dude's awesome. And I think people are trying to hate on him just to hate. I like Fernando Mendoza. I like him a hell of a lot more than what I liked Cam Ward last year. Like, I don't want to keep saying my big board, top 10 grade. I'll put it that way so you still have a reason to watch my big board by the time all this is done. Prototypical size, 6'5", 236. He's only 22. The arm length and hand size checks out, which is good. He's pretty mobile, can get it done when he needs to. Hence, 4th down national championship, biggest play of your life, runs through 2 defenders to get in the end zone to win pretty much the national championship. That's that dog mentality, and some people don't have it. Fernando certainly does. He gets the job done. Plenty of game-winning drives this past season. Like I said, the Miami one to put the game in the bag. The Penn State one, awesome touchdown by Omar Cooper, and several others I'm probably not naming off the top of my head. Fernando was awesome this year. 41 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. That's elite. Super accurate with the ball, can make the big time throws, has the arm strength. The game started awesome over 30, what you're looking for. The one flaw I would say that he has, he's not a super athlete, which really isn't a flaw to me. You're playing quarterback. The pressure rate. He does sometimes put a good bit of pressures on himself, which y'all can see over here at 24, almost 25%. That could potentially be a problem. I'm going to be honest. When I watch Fernando Mendoza, I think of like Vikings Kirk Cousins before the ACL injury or the Achilles injury. I think of current Jared Goff. I think of like just a really safe quarterback. Like, will Fernando ever be a top 5 quarterback? I don't know. I think he could. He has the upside, excuse me, to potentially be that. If I had to put him in a boat, I think Fernando's always cruising between top 8 to top 15 in the league, give or take the type of year he's having. Which a lot of teams would die for that if teams are winning Super Bowls with people like Jalen Hurts and Sam Darnold when they are able to build a good roster around them. So, yeah, guys, that is going to be my 2026 quarterback rankings. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know some of your takes and what you disagree with me on. And yeah, man, until next time, with which will be tomorrow with the running backs. Peace out.